Alright, today we're going to be going over parallel lines. The weird and the wonderful. There are certain relationships that exist for every set of parallel lines, which are very helpful to know. They come up often in a variety of problems and can really help you out. So first, we have two parallel lines, and parallel lines are lines that never touch. We can draw them for infinity, and they will never intersect. Then we'll draw a line intersecting both of those parallel lines. Right? We'll call this line a transversal. And now we have a whole bunch of new angles formed. Angles here and here, and angles here and here. I'll just start by calling one of these angles angle X. And I'll call the angle on the other side of here angle Y. And we know that the degree measure of a straight line is 180 degrees. So y equals 180 minus x. But we have opposite angles here. And opposite angles are what we call vertical angles. And vertical angles are congruent. So whenever you see two lines intersecting and forming opposite angles here, they're going to be equal. So that means that these two angles, which are opposite, they're vertical angles. So they're equal. And these two angles are opposite, and they're also equal. And we can do the same thing down here, right? We'll have this angle and this angle. They're congruent, or they're equal. You'll see them denoted like this, where there's like a line on top of the angle to say they're equal. You'll also see it like this, with like two lines or three lines, or however many lines in a similar pattern, so that these two angles are equal. There's different formats or different ways of doing it, but this is also true. Well, the interesting part is, for any parallel lines and for any transversal, this angle right here is always going to be equal to x. And why is that? Well, if you think about it, right, if we're measuring this using a protractor, this, right, captures the line's tilt, right, how much it's tilting this way, right? Since this line is parallel, it intersects the same tilt. The measure of that tilt is also going to be the same, right? So this is equal to x, which means vertical angles, this is equal to x. Right, and since the measure of a straight line is 180, right? This right here equals 180 minus x, or y, and since these two angles are congruent, this equals y. And right here we can stop and we can notice a couple key patterns. Right? First, these angles here and here, what we call corresponding angles, because they have the same corresponding position, right? In this case, they're the upper right angle. They're equal. Inside, if these two parallel lines, the angles on the opposite sides are equal. And outside, the angles on the opposite sides are equal. Right? So we have a couple of relations that we can really use. And what makes this so powerful is all you need is one value anywhere. And we can find every measurement for every angle on these pairs of lines, right? So if I say x is 100, well, y is 80, which means this is 80, this is 100, and this is 100, and this is 80, and so on and so forth, until we find the measurement of every single angle in this structure. Which is really good, because it means we can solve a whole ton of problems. There's one other thing for these problems, and perhaps we can use these properties to see if two lines are parallel, right? So there'll be questions asking, are these two lines parallel? And they'll have like an angle measurement and a drawing. Or they'll say, what has to be true for these two lines to be parallel? And they'll give you an angle. Now, if we find out, for example, we have a line, and this angle isn't equal to this angle, or this angle isn't equal to this angle, we can say, hey, the line's not parallel. No, this line's not parallel, right? Or we can say, in order for this line to be parallel, right, this has to be equal to this, or this has to be equal to this. And we can use these properties to solve these problems without running into a lot of trouble. So that's the properties of parallel lines. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you later.